Hey friends, I'm Laura, aka Sassy, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited that you're here. Today we're going to be talking about 1200 calorie diet recommendations and just very low calorie recommendations. But before we get started, please make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe today. And if you could, share this with some of your friends and or share it on social media. It really will help get the word out that Sassy is on the YouTubes. Oh yeah. You're going to want to stay around to the end because there's almost always bloopers, and I love adding those in to let you guys know that I am not a robot, actually, so that way you guys can actually see some more of my personality. However, just a reminder that the thoughts and opinions on this YouTube channel are my own. Certainly, I am a dietitian, but I may not be your dietitian. So if you need any specific help or advice, please seek help from a trained healthcare professional and know that this YouTube channel is not meant to diagnose or treat anything medically. So, are you ready? Let's go. So I decided that we needed to start a series. I don't really know if that's a thing. I'm still learning this whole YouTube thing. But one day I was talking to my intern and we were talking about ideas on content, and all of a sudden we got off track and we started talking about things like wraps and skinny teas and all different types of MLM companies that sell nutrition supplements. And so all of a sudden I just told her, I was like, how is this still a thing? How? So I decided we need to make this a series. So welcome to the series, How Is This Still a Thing? With yours truly, Laura, Sassy Dietitian, if you didn't know that already. And so we're gonna start this series. So if you have an idea for me of what you want me to talk about, of how is this still a thing, feel free to DM me on Instagram. You can find me at the Sassy Dietitian, or leave a comment below. You can also find me on my website and shoot me an email. And I'm happy to kind of, figure out if it's something that I really do believe should not be a thing and can't believe it still is. Seriously. I've been in this industry for at least a decade, and I can't tell you how many things I've seen come and go and come back again, and it's like a terrible weed. So today we're going to dig into 1200 calorie diet recommendations, or we can also classify it as very low calorie recommendations. Why do I say 1200 calories? I'm so glad you asked. It's because it's a number that I continually see being brought up from my clients, from my followers, and just in the media. It seems like 1200 calories is like this golden number that if we just eat 1200 calories, we will reach health, we will reach fitness, we will reach our weight goals. And I'm really sick of that number. I actually wrote a blog post about it, and so I'm going to link that below in the notes. So make sure you go check that out. Death to the 1200 calorie diet mentality, because I've literally been talking about this for years. However, I figured we talk about it on YouTube because why not? We're here now. Okay, so why are 1200 calorie diets a thing? So glad you asked. And it's because people have recognized that if you seriously reduce caloric intake, you will see weight loss. No matter who you are, if you are reducing your intake under your daily estimated needs, you will most likely lose weight. Now, there's a few caveats there. If we get the number wrong, if you have some hormonal imbalances, if your thyroid isn't functioning great, if your metabolism is a little wonky, there's definitely things that can happen. However, you eat truly 1200 calories or less, you will most likely lose weight. Now, do not stop here. Do not. Because I am not telling you or recommending that you severely reduce your caloric intake. Keep in mind that my clients and my clientele and my followers are mostly active females, adults, some teenagers, and I also have some active men in there as well. Men, you should 100% not be eating 1200 calories, and women, honestly, I feel 99.9% sure that you should not be either. And so we need to make sure that we at least feed our body's basal metabolic rate. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can go check out the video I did last week on how much you should eat. But we should not be eating below this BMR, basal metabolic rate. It's what our organs need to function. It's what our tissues need to function. It's what our brain and our DNA needs to function. So it's not something that I ever recommend going below. So how do we get to this 1200 calorie diet? Well, most people have recognized that most people's BMR, especially females, probably is somewhere between 13 and 1500 calories. So if we go to 1200, we're going to be below everyone's caloric need and everyone will lose weight. not so fast. While you may lose weight on this diet, it is not worth it. It is short-term weight loss that will most likely put you in a place where you have a messed up relationship with food, a messed up relationship with your body, some hormonal imbalances, dysregulated hunger cues. You won't be able to tell if you're hungry or if you're just emotionally hungry. There's a difference, and we can talk all about that at a different time. But it can also do things like reduce muscle mass. So you may be losing weight, but if you're not fueling your basal metabolic rate, what happens is your body starts tapping into stores that we don't want it to tap into. We do not want it to start breaking down our muscles. We want it to break down fat if we're looking to lose weight, correct? I would hope so. Muscle is what keeps us strong, keeps us healthy, and keeps us active and living. So when we severely reduce our caloric intake, we may do some damage to our muscle gain as well. And there's a lot of other things that can happen when we severely calorically restrict for a long period of time. And, I don't even recommend people do this for a week. A day or two here and there because you're not hungry or you're not feeling well, that's one thing. But to be put on this diet, like a lot of the sources I'm about to tell you do, is, I think, incredibly irresponsible for so many reasons. Now, keep in mind that 1,200 calorie is just the level that I'm talking about because it is the most popular number that I have seen. However, and this is a big however, for some people, honestly, I'm talking 1,400, 1,600 calories. And so you need to know who you are. If you are a physically active adult, and I mean you are working out 3 to 5 times per week, 1,200 calories is not going to cut it. You are going to do far more damage than you are going to do good. You may lose weight in the short term, which is what all these coaches love, right? Because they get to show your before and after picture. They get to sell you to their next victim. Well, guess what? How are you feeling in the gym? How is your sleep? How is your sex drive? How do you feel during the middle of the day? You probably feel drained. You probably feel awful. And that's because your body is screaming for food and attention. So let's talk a little bit about who is promoting this diet. Now, I have a few examples here, so I will actually pull them up for you guys. The first is MyFitnessPal. So when I ask most people where they've heard the 1,200 calorie diet come from, MyFitnessPal comes up over and over and over again. So this source that I found on myfitnesspal.com has, from a dietitian no less, which pains me greatly, shows what 1,200 calories looks like in a day. Now, she does say in here that if your goal is weight loss, it's close to the minimum of the National Institute of Health recommendations for women. And it's literally the lowest count recommended for men. Dipping too far below this range isn't safe or healthy, and MyFitnessPal follows suit when you're setting your weight loss program. This is not true. This is not true. Ugh. I can't tell you how many females I have had using MyFitnessPal, and they tell me, oh, my goal is 1,200 calories. But if I work out, it ups it to 1,800. Listen here and listen good. You need more calories consistently than 1,200 calories a day. And if your goal is weight loss and that is realistic for you, you can still lose weight at a higher caloric intake than 1,200 calories like MyFitnessPal tells you. So it goes on to show just a sample menu, but I'm going to read this to you because honestly, I would be starving. So breakfast is a half a cup of oatmeal with walnuts and blueberries, 300 calories, and a total of 10 grams of protein. I'm going to go protein because that's really what's going to keep your muscle mass on if you're severely reducing. Half a cup of cottage cheese and a pear. We're at 149, so now like 450 calories, 14 grams of protein. We're now up to like 25 grams. Mediterranean chicken salad for lunch, another 300 calorie meal, 28 grams of protein. That's actually pretty good. So now we're at like 50 grams of protein. Just doing this mental math, so bear with me. Lunch is half a cup of carrot sticks. Does anyone count their carrot sticks? Hard-boiled egg and 4 whole wheat crackers. Are you kidding me? 4 crackers. You want me to eat 4 crackers? Okay, 145 calories. Shrimp tacos for dinner, just 2 of them, no sides, 300 calories. Whew. So we are at 1,200 calories. Protein, we're at 23, 33. I think we're at 80 grams, which isn't realistically all that low, but for active humans, which is who I generally talk to, 80 grams is probably not going to cut it, and 1200 calories is 100% not going to cut it. So that is coming from MyFitnessPal. The next source, Noom. Noom is a health app, and it is meant to help you with their, research plan. They use, I think, red, yellow, and green foods and tell you how much of each you should be consuming. However, I've heard from a lot of people that they have been told to eat 1200 calories or less. I have this article from greatest.com, and it's a review on it. And I just want to pull up where it says, my calorie limit was 1100 per day. Ouch. It took some getting used to, and Noom is quick to point out that going over isn't failing. But after a couple weeks, I found myself naturally sticking to it. Eek. So you can see this person, what they probably did is they probably suppressed their hunger cues for a little while. They may have also, we don't know, she or he may have also reduced their activity, and so maybe they weren't as hungry because they weren't as moving as much because they didn't have the energy to move as much. But the problem with this app is that it is obviously a big platform. You can get it on your phone. It's relatively cheap and accessible, and there is no training required for their health coaches. Now, I have heard that there are registered dietitians that do work behind the scenes. Some of them are actually health coaches, but they are unable to disclose to their client that they are a dietitian, and therefore they're constrained by the app itself, which is not so great because, as we know, the app is probably pretty much automated, and it's probably kicking out this 1200 calorie limit for a lot of people because it's shown to, help them lose weight. And so what they're probably doing is they're probably getting their BMR, they're probably underestimating their activity level, and they're probably at a severe deficit. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back to last week's episode. You'll understand a little bit more of that terminology. Okay, before we go down the rabbit hole of Noom and MyFitnessPal, we honestly should probably just do videos on them alone, and I'm happy to do that. If you want me to do that, just click the like button or comment or reach out to me in my DMs and let me know. So other places that we found them, websites like goodhousekeeping.com. Goodhousekeeping.com. Guys, what? So you're gonna go figure out how to keep your house, which I'm guessing that's what that means, right? I mean, like, good housekeeping, you're going to keep your house good. Yeah, I'm a genius now. But why would you go there for nutrition advice? Why? Honestly, why? Okay, sorry. Neither here nor there. So they have a 1200 calorie diet plan on here. All of this is going to go below in the notes too. So if you want to take a deep dive in there, you are welcome to. What I heard from a lot of people is the 21-day fix. Good old Beachbody. You know what I love about Beachbody? And no, I don't actually love Beachbody, is that they love to put titles and names on their products as if we're like so blind to the fact that they are run by Beachbody. Like, they use the 21-day fix, but they don't often say Beachbody because it's like they don't want you to know that it's part of Beachbody. So I'm going to put this up here, but that they have a way for you to figure out your calories as well as your container level. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Beachbody or the 21-day fix, they basically, you purchase this 21-day fix, of course, and then you're given colored containers, and those colored containers stand for something. So like vegetables, nuts and seeds, protein, that type of stuff. Don't quote me on the exact colors. I don't remember them, but I remember my first client came to me from there, and I was like, this is complete garbage. It's not teaching anyone how to eat. And it's recommending severe caloric restriction. So those less than 169 pounds, their containers contain anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 calories. Makes no sense. I mean, you could be a 100-pound female all the way up to a 170-pound male. Like, those two people should never be eating the same amount, and they probably have different goals and probably have different needs. Like, okay, cool. And then 169 to 195 pounds, 1,500 to 1,800 calories. Once again, probably not enough for them. And you don't get up to 2,300 calories until you are over 223 pounds. Bizarre. So basically what they're saying is that you need to take your current body weight in pounds and multiply the number by 11 to calculate your baseline calories, then add 400 to your baseline calories to equal your daily caloric needs, then subtract 750 from your caloric needs. What? These are just numbers. These literally are not found in science anywhere or the research. That is honestly blood boiling. Okay, so there's that. So, Beachbody is obviously known for other issues. Anyway, I digress. So we're going to keep going of who else is promoting it. RP. RP is Renaissance periodization, and they are found a lot in the powerlifting, weightlifting, and bodybuilding community, as well as the CrossFit community. And RP has a lot of science behind it, and when you look online, you will find that they show their, I believe, maintenance and gain plans. I had a hard time finding their cut plans, so I'm going to do a little bit more digging and might do a whole video on that. But RP, I've heard from a lot of people, they come to me after being on RP and cycling on and off it because it's very hard to sustain, that they were at severe caloric restriction, 1,200 calories or less. And they also were on very low fat, like below 40 grams. We need a whole video on fat, guys, because below 40 grams for an active female, for a human being, is far too low. So RP's promoting it. Oh, and then we have celebrity trainers who are promoting it. So two that I was able to find some quick information on are Jackie Warner. She's an online fitness and nutrition coach, and Jillian Michaels, both of whom have been on TV shows. And, Jillian Michaels is known for The Biggest Loser, and there's research articles out there. I will try to pull that up for this episode, where they're showing that those participants in Biggest Loser who lost all the weight were not able to maintain it after X amount of years in their follow-up. And it's no wonder, because they were put on such severe caloric restriction and were asked to exercise an extreme amount that it was not sustainable. So it's no wonder that she's still promoting this lifestyle. Jackie Warner, if you go on her Instagram, it's actually a little bit unnerving to see her literally post what she's eating. Like, she's not posting the food per se. I think there were some food, but two of the posts that I saw, she was like promoting that she was at 1,100 calories, as if that was her pride and joy. All right, so the last few people who I have, kind of some run-ins with are doctors. So, there's a lot of great doctors out there. So this is not to knock on doctors, but there are some really not so great doctors out there, or ones who are just ill-informed. So doctors are not required to go through any nutritional training in their med school. When I was working at the hospital that I worked at, they had one course. I taught one of the lectures. I also did some of the case studies for them, and they really just had to pass fail. So there's a lot of doctors out there who do their own research, who choose to specialize in fields that require nutrition. They choose to go above and beyond. So it's not to say that all doctors are like this, but if your doctor is recommending a specific diet, please ask him or her what her their nutrition background is, and or ask for a referral to a dietitian. Because it's not that they don't want the best for you, it's that they might be ill-informed. They have a lot of clients on their plate or patients on their plate. And so 1,200 calorie diets may work, but they are not what we should be promoting. Finally, two other categories that I run across often are random people on the internet, social media. I mean, I guess I'm a random person. Hello, random human, I don't know yet. But I've even seen dietitians. And so that hurts me the most, because I feel that we know better, so we should do better. And so for dietitians who are promoting less than 1,200 calories, you better have a dang good reason for promoting it, because your clients end up coming to me and saying that they were told to go in 1,200 calorie diets. And yes, they lost weight, which, okay, short-term success, but we should be looking at long-term success. They're not able to maintain it. They're miserable. They end up gaining more weight than they originally, had on to begin with. And they have a really messed up relationship with food, which is not worth it. And finally, the last people who I personally see, because the world that I live in is CrossFit Games athletes and coaches, and recommending that, we don't need a lot of food. They come from the zone and paleo worlds. And so I've even heard someone reach out to me on Instagram and said that they knew a CrossFit Games athlete coaching 6 classes a day with 2 training sessions on 1,200 calories and 16 grams of fat. What? Okay, I need to calm down. Is anyone else overheating? It's just me. Okay, here's the thing. Your body wants to feel safe. At its greatest being, it just wants to feel safe. And when you severely cut and reduce calories for an extended period of time, more than a few days, your body goes into safe alert mode. It does not feel safe, and so things may start shutting down. Your body may actually reduce your BMR just to save yourself. So it's not saying that you're damaging anything per se, unless you continue to do it for years and years and years, and then we just may have some issues revving it back up and getting things back to normal. But the reason that this is such a problem is because it does lead to some devastating things in the body. This is both for males and females, but know that I tend to see this more in females, but it might just because they're asking for more help, and it might be more prominent. That does not mean if you're a male watching this and you have been severely restricting caloric intake, whether by yourself or through a coach, I definitely recommend getting help, females included. So some of the symptoms of undereating include loss of menstrual cycle or really irregular or worsening menstrual cycles. This is something that's a vital sign you should be having a regular menstrual cycle unless you're on birth control or unless you've already been diagnosed with something different from your doctor. You may have sleep issues. You may have trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or you just may be really restless. You may experience infertility. Now, note, this is not the only cause of infertility, but it may be contributing to it. Low energy or low motivation. You might be someone who always was super hyper, yours truly, but you all of a sudden feel like this dip in energy, and it also kind of coincides with your lower intake. You might be moody or irritable. It's okay to be moody or irritable once in a while, but if you're constantly moody and irritable, your body's trying to tell you something. A low libido, not feeling revved up and jazzed to go, yeah, that's a sign. Cravings or constant thoughts about food. I'm not saying like having a craving, like you're driving past your favorite ice cream shop or your favorite coffee shop and you're like, I could really go for that. No, it's like this constant, I need to have this food, and you cannot get it off your mind. That's not great. Your body doesn't feel safe. Your body's trying to tell you something. Other signs and symptoms of undereating include headaches and poor focus, poor exercise performance, and decreased recovery or increased risk of injury. So not great things, right? So if you have any of those signs and symptoms and you know you're cutting below 1,200 calories, maybe even below 1,600 calories, I would definitely recommend seeking help from a healthcare professional, not someone who's going to put you on a macro plan, but someone who's probably going to help you fuel your body. So you might be asking, okay, how much do I need to eat? Good, glad you asked that. I did a whole video on this last week, so I will link that below. Also, I went to the books and I went to some of the dietary guidelines out there, and these are just kind of looking at big populations and understanding what the average person needs. In my Krause's Food and Nutrition Therapy textbook, a female over the age of 19 years old requires about 2,400 calories a day, and that's probably minus 10 calories per year of age. So in order to get 1,200 calories a day, you would need to be 120 years old, just for baseline calorie needs. Is anyone here 120 years old? If you are, man, send me a comment. I want to meet you. But the rest of us, we're not there, okay? So we need to be fueling our body. Next, the dietary guidelines, which come out every 5 years. You can see on page 77 and page 78, it shows the estimated calorie needs per day by age, sex, and physical activity level. They're using 3 activity levels here, and you can see more of what those mean. But you can see that at 2 years of age, we start with 1,000 calories. 2 years. 2 years of age. Is there a 2-year-old watching? If there's a 2-year-old watching who can comprehend what I'm saying, sign that kid up for college. Okay. So let's go to like my average client. My average client is probably around 30. So let's say 26 to 30, female, low active, sedentary, 1,800 calories. High active, there it is again, 2,400 calories. So now, once again, these are just estimated. There's a lot that goes into figuring out how much you need, but just know that this is probably just an average and also a range. Like, there will be days that you're hungrier than others, and that's okay. That's normal. Normal fluctuations are normal. Normal fluctuations are normal. You get me. So how do we avoid this? How do we avoid this 1,200 calorie diet? I don't know that we ever will. I mean, how is this still a thing? So some of my recommendations are to unfollow people who tell you that it's okay. If you're constantly seeing this person come up and tell you that they're eating 1,200 calories or their clients are, eating 1,200 calories, unfollow them. If they're posting before and after pictures constantly to get you to buy, unfollow. Big red flag. Red flag. Ask trainers for research or their credentials to back up what they're saying. I find trainers say this a lot too. I would also recommend, if you have a healthy relationship with food, maybe try tracking your food intake and making sure you're eating enough. I find that sometimes people don't even know that they're under eating. They may just be used to it and they don't realize how little they're consuming. And then finally, think about working on other areas than just cutting calories. I think when we're looking for weight loss or weight maintenance or body composition change, our focus solely becomes on cutting as many calories as we possibly can. Instead, we can improve things like sleep, stress management, all of which can help healthy hormones and a healthy metabolism. We could also improve things like NEAT. We talked about this in the last video of how much we're moving outside of exercise. Talk with your hands more, stand at your desk, sit at your desk, go for a walk at lunch, things like that we can really improve upon. And then finally, work with a professional who can help you get back to eating right for your activity level and for your health goals. Not every healthcare professional is going to be right for you, and that's okay. Okay, so before we get to the final verdict and the bloopers, and before I tell you guys what things you can say for those who are doing it or for those telling you to do it, I wanted to give you 2 more examples of people who reached out to me. I'm going to be keeping everyone anonymous, so don't worry if you want to reach out and tell me your story about whether it's about low calories or about another topic that you think you want me to talk about. I'm going to keep you guys anonymous. I don't want to blow your cover. I honestly just want to tell your stories and talk a little bit about it. So this one comes from an Instagram follower. I would like this to be anonymous, but I had a very bad experience with a close to 1,200 calorie diet last year. I was doing macros through my gym, and at most, each day I was getting or told to eat 1,400, sometimes dipping down to 1,300. I run, do lifting workouts, and am on my feet for my job. I was starving and kept saying I was. They said trust the process, but what ended up happening was first I looked emaciated. Everyone was asking if I was okay. Secondly, I was in urgent care for my heart rate dipping below 40 beats per minute. It went down to 35, very scary. I'm a former college athlete and knew it wasn't enough, but since I paid and someone told me it was, I trusted it. Nope. It creates such a bad relationship with food. When I had my free days, all I wanted to do was eat because I was so hungry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And if this resonates with you, know that this is not enough food. If you're a physically active human, oh my God, this is not enough food. And you know what's crazy is her mind was telling her, but because she paid for this service, she just completely stopped listening to her body, stopped trusting her body. Her body was screaming at her, screaming. It was saying, I'm not safe. I don't feel safe. So I'm really sorry, but it's scary. You guys are not alone. And so if you have stories like this, feel free to share them with me. But let's do one more. So this is another Instagram follower, someone who reached out on DMs and said, hi, I saw you're looking for people with experiences with 1,200 calorie diets. I did a cycle of blank diet program. It's a gym, macros last summer. And this photo is what my weekly macros were supposed to be with one cheat meal a week while doing their workouts. I lost about a pound a week, but found that I was obsessed with hitting my numbers and ended up eating the same thing over and over because it was the only way I knew how to hit my numbers. Plus, I would obsess about planning ahead and not being in situations where I couldn't eat what was available. Then I would go completely off the program for one night for my quote unquote cheat meal. And if I did have any other cheats during the week, I felt like I had to lie about them. I barely went to the workouts because I felt so weak after and overall just didn't feel great. No surprise, I gained back all the weight I lost plus some. Now, I'm not going to share these macros either. And now for her macros. This is a physically active female. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, she was allowed 1,135 calories, so not much. Thursday was her big day. She got 1,235 calories. And on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the days you like to go out with your friends and have a drink here or there, 1,115 calories. So her lowest were Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yikes. So as you can see, these quote unquote macro or weight loss programs, they might be great for weight loss in the short term, as they did for these clients, but they ended up having such severe consequences that it was not worth it. I mean, just listening to those stories, it breaks my heart. So if that was enough to help you stop, I hope it is, or at least prevent you from listening to these people who are telling you to eat 1,200 calorie diets. Know that you're not alone, but also recognize the damage that it can do. I mean, even just the damage it can do with relationships in your life, not being able to go out to eat comfortably, not being able to eat what's in front of you because it doesn't fit your macros. I mean, there's a lot going on there. So the last and final point that I want to bring up is, how do you talk to someone about this who suggests it for you, or you see them suggesting it to others, or they're doing it and asking your advice? There's a lot of things that you can say. So I wrote these down, otherwise I was going to forget. So, 1, tell them you prefer to eat a calorie level that supports your active lifestyle and goals. You can literally leave it at that. If they try to argue with you, just say, listen, like, I'm doing me, you do you. Say you do not want short-term unsustainable results. You prefer long-term and sustainable diet and lifestyle changes that work for you. Once again, take ownership and just say, I want to do this for me. They're going to take it on the attack. They're going to attack you and start defending their own selves. So what you need to do is you need to just say, for you, you cannot do this because it's not right for you. Remind them that there is no one diet fits all, and you are not them and they are not you. So if they're trying to hound you for it, just say, listen, we are different people, tomato, tomato. Then finally, if you see someone promoting it, know that you may not be able to do anything about it, but be there for them when they are hungry and encourage them to maybe eat something. So this is a really tricky area. It's a gray area, and I highly recommend that you try not to say too much negative to them. If there's any eating disorder behavior, which I'm happy to do a video on what that looks like, I can even bring in some experts. I have some friends that are really well versed in eating disorder and eating disorder management. And so the issue is if you lose their trust, you may then not be able to help them, and they may hide things from you. So do your best to just put it all on you. Say that you don't want to be like that, and that you like to eat the way that you're eating because it makes you feel good and it fits in your lifestyle, and kind of leave it at that. Unfortunately, you're probably not going to be able to change the minds of others. That's what I'm hoping to do through videos like this, hopefully giving people a platform in order to share their stories so I can help others get out of this cyclical hell. And then also, so maybe I can help trainers and even dietitians and doctors understand that 1,200 calorie diets is not enough to fuel an active lifestyle. So the verdict, how is it still a thing? Yeah, it needs to die. How is this still a thing? I have no idea. So that is that. If you like this episode, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Do you like that little dance? And share this with someone who you think would find it valuable. Maybe share it with a gym owner who you support, but you want to share it with your gym members. Maybe you share it with a doctor, a friend, a neighbor, someone who you can think will find this channel helpful. But until next time, thanks for tuning in, and Sassy is out. That was weird. So that's all I got. Probably want a cracker? Oh yeah. So before we dive in, I would be so hungry. I'd be like, give me a peanut butter jelly sandwich. That's what I'd be like.